Hi, guys. John the Firearms Instructor. I apologize very much for being late today. Please excuse my tardiness. I am working on some computer problems at this point in time, and I do apologize about that. I hope you're having a wonderful day. If you're new to the channel, my name is John Johnson. I'm the owner and operator of a firearms training facility in beautiful Cape Coral, Florida. That specializes in you. We specialize in the first-time shooter, someone who hasn't shot a lot before, and we are here to support you any way we can. And that's what we do each week with these drills and techniques that we're giving you. It helps you understand what you're doing wrong with a firearm. Majority of the time when someone's doing something wrong, it's very challenging for the student to identify what they're doing wrong. We help you with that each week by giving you techniques and things that will definitely benefit you in the future. So yeah, now I'm getting like 30 of these things. I apologize. I was at the bank this evening and had to rush back here for some stuff. You know how it goes. So I am going to check the comments real quick. Go ahead. Anybody who is on here would like to comment and let me know who you are, where you're from. Raymond, how you doing, sir? Good evening. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live. I'm all upset now that I didn't get to run my little intro, like my wrestling intro. I was pretty proud of that. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tuesday Night Live podcast from the range with your host, John G. Johnson. So if you can for me, go ahead and let me know if you can hear me. If you can hear me, let me know. That would be great. If you cannot hear me, then I need to fix some stuff. Good evening, John. Good evening, Raymond. Good evening, Kurt Richards. Glad you guys are all here this evening. I appreciate you very much. I most likely can't hear me due to the fact that I don't have this bad boy plugged in. Now, let me ask you this again. Can you hear me? Loud and clear. Thank you, Raymond. Thank you very much so. And you heard the little commercial, or did you not hear that? That'll help me tremendously know where I'm at here. Here's a tip for you. When you're going to use a green screen in the back to make your office look like it's clean, do not wear a green shirt. So I may disappear a couple times a night. You never know. It's a good way to lose weight if you think about it with the green screen. It helps tremendously. Well, we've had an interesting few days, haven't we? Trump went on Saturday and put his foot down in regards to what's going over there in the other side of the world. And we had to stop some bad people from having nuclear weapons. And it looks like he's put an ultimatum on them to stop this bullcrap before we have to get involved. And I don't want any of our boys to go over there and get involved. Thank you for the men and women that were able to do what they need to do. We had submarines, we had physical, the planes went over there, the everything that was happening over there. And of course, Monday they started throwing bombs at each other again. So it just doesn't make sense to me. And if you heard Trump, he's not very happy about that of either side. Obviously, we can't have them having nuclear weapons, but we need to be able to stop the bloodshed as much as possible. So tonight's all about head in the sand. I think it's important because over the weekend, we went from not being very busy to all of a sudden people are jammed up, banging on our door to try to get something. And I appreciate it. Things happen once in a while that makes people think. But there are a lot of people who run around the world with their head in the sand thinking it's not going to happen to me. So I did a thumbnail because I did a video today, about 24-minute video about the same topic, and I thought it's very important, if you did not see it, that I would cover it again, because I think it's imperative that we, as defensive shooters and everything else, kind of come up with a plan, kind of come up with a strategy that's going to keep you and your loved ones safe. 911 and the cops are after a defensive situation has happened. It is not their job to protect you and save your life. It is your job to save your life. And that may take some time behind the gun to get comfortable. So there's a lot of people in the world today with a mindset that we see way too often. It's the ostrich mindset, or mentality, if you think about it. I don't know if you know this, but an ostrich, it's always been a joke. They put their head in the sand. So I looked it up to try to figure it out. It's a true factor. They have a small brain, but in their small brain, somewhere down the line, an ostrich was saved by him sticking his head in the sand and not visualizing the threat. And if he can't see the threat, then the threat ain't there. And it's kind of, that's that mentality that people think about. It's not going to happen to me. And I think it's very important that we get our system and our program down and never hope on putting your head in the sand and thinking that that's the way to deal with a threat. Hope the bad guys skip them. Hope the gun magically makes them ready, right? The gun itself is not going to make you ready. Owning a firearm is just one step in a process that you need to put together to become the best shooter you can be. We do not want to think about not having a weapon, but we need to get ready and be ready. One of the things people do is they buy the firearms thinking this is going to be our savior. This is going to be our solve. And if they don't know what you're doing with the firearm, or you're having a little bit of inaccuracy issues, or you're frustrated every time you leave and come to the range because you're just not accurate with a pistol. Shooting a firearm, there's a few little things you need to know. And that's what we do here at the range. We teach people, we specialize in first-time shooters to give you the best foundation and ability you can through our YouTube channel, through our masterclass, through our ebooks, through all our YouTube videos. By the way, guys, 700 YouTube videos, 700 videos today. That's a win-win for us. Let's see if I can get an applause with that with this machine here. Oh, that's a crow. There. I don't know if you can hear that, but if you can, there we go. Yeah, 700. I remember not too long ago when Johnny worked for me here at the store that we started with 39 subscribers. I had the YouTube channel for almost 3 years and only had 39 subscribers. And in about a year, Johnny and I got to a point where we had 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. And when we got that, we got monetized. And it never was about monetization, but I remember the 100th video, the 200th video. I saw something the other day about 6,000 subscribers. Now we're at almost 40,000 subscribers. And it's because of you guys. It's about you and what I want to give you as much as possible. And it's kind of cool. So that's one of those things. But everything we put through this channel is to motivate you educate you and entertain you in some way that you start to want to do more and more and more and more. Because owning a gun without a plan, like an ostrich, right? He has no plan. He just sticks his head in the sand. You cannot own the gun, stick your head in the sand, and when it's time, you're just going to know what to do. We always talk about in high stress situations, a high adrenaline dump situation, your body's going to make a decision for you, fight or flight, and whatever it deems unnecessary, it's going to shut down because it's going to make the priority maybe the trigger finger. It may have make the priority moving backwards and not doing what you need to do. So we need to focus on a true plan that's going to make us comfortable and consistent. Once you become comfortable with a firearm, accuracy will come. So don't be an ostrich. Don't be an ostrich. 10 things you need to know before buying your first pistol. Here is number 1. Now, by the way, guys, if I say something this evening, do you have a question about anything? We will try to answer them on the fly. I'm going to stay in this mode here so I can see the comments. I have a hard time reading the comments and talking at the same time. Sorry. So if I sound like I'm not saying anything, because I'm trying to see a comment somebody has given us. And if you're new tonight and you've never been on here before, please make a comment. Tell us where you're from. We don't need a whole story, just your first name and where you're from, and we'll give you a shout out for being one of our first time listeners, and we appreciate you very much. Do me a favor, guys. Any of you that are on here, tell me where you knew about the channel. Was it something you saw, or have you been on the channel before? That'll help us tremendously. Number 1, self-defense isn't just owning a gun. It happens an awful lot. People come here for training purposes. They come here. Had one yesterday, husband and wife, daughter and son-in-law, 5 years ago, took them out to Bass Pro Shop and bought mom and dad a gun. They didn't want mom and dad to be down here without having a weapon to protect them. They did everything they thought they should do for mom and dad, except one thing. Mom and dad didn't want the gun. Mom and dad fell to peer pressure from the kids to get them one. Dad put that in his closet and did not touch it for 5 years. He brought it in. He is 74, 75. Leona Raider. Beautiful newbie from the great state of Ohio. Well, welcome. Glad you're here. Appreciate it very much. All right. So that mom and dad didn't want it. They didn't want it in the house. Dad never wanted it in the house, but he broke down and shut the kids up, and he let them buy him a gun. So they bought him a gun. It was an XD Mod 2, full size. He could barely rack it. He could not load the magazines. Now, obviously, 5 years have gone by. He's pretty arthritic. So we kind of, hey, that's the one he brought to the dance. So I'm going to try to teach him to load it. I got him a loader. We worked through it. Then I let him try a different pistol or two. That's what we do. And they bought 2 pistols, 2 equalizers, because they can run them, they can load them, they can shoot them, and they're accurate with them, and it made perfect sense. Justin, thank you very much. Welcome. Glad you're here. Appreciate you being here. And where you from, buddy? Where you from? Justin. All right. So buying a pistol doesn't make you safe. It's just the start of a real self-defense strategy. Don't stick your head to sand and think the purchase alone is enough. Now, in fairness to most people do not do that. Most people are, I won't say the word scared, but they have a high Illinois. Yeah, there we go, buddy. That's all right. That's all right. Someday, you can be free. Someday. uh, but the idea of this is when you physically get the gun, it's truly the first step. It's the first step in many that you should take. Not putting 10 lists together, but I think as a firearms instructor, purchasing a pistol without shooting one first is a bad idea. I think if you had the ability to get to a gun store that offered a try before you buy attached to an instructor like we do, purchasing a pistol would be a slam dunk. There would be no hesitation because you would spend time behind the firearm to understand them. Like we do, is we offer a student the opportunity to shoot 3 or 4 of the most popular pistols in the market. Now, obviously, when they walk in the door, I'm already profiling them. Not profiling. It's a bad word to use. Not profiling. Oh, hey, Kurt, that's good to hear. Kurt's wife bought him all of my books as a present. They are very formative. I appreciate you saying anything about that. Thank you very much. I did not do my book commercial. I'll do it later. But guys, stay on here because I'm going to give you one of our free ebooks. If you'll stay to the end, I will give you one of our free ebooks. It's very easy to get. And those books are about grip and stance and trigger control and sight picture and sight alignment. It's a little bit of me. You're able to read it. Most of them are somewhere between 60 and 80 pages long, but they're going to break down a true discipline like trigger control, or a true discipline about grip, or a true discipline about stance, why you shoot low and left. There's a bunch of them there. Very easy. Very not. I wrote them for the purpose to give my passion away, and you guys have technically always get the free one, but buy a few more, which supports me and my family-owned business, which I appreciate very much. So understanding that the firearm just isn't enough, trying to try before you buy a firearm. Remember, the gun stores are set up in a couple different ways. The big box stores, the big like Bass Pro and Sportsman's Guide and all the other big stores that are out there in the world today. Technically, I would consider those order takers. You don't get to do much with that. You may get to handle it. You may get to touch it. I don't think you'll be able to rack the slide. They're not going to answer a ton of questions. Now, I'm putting this in what I see when students come from these big box stores and bring the firearm to me. And at that point in time, I asked them the questions. What were they told? What was said to you? How did you go? And they just said, "Do you want to buy a revolver? Here's the revolver." Uniquely, they didn't get to pull the trigger. They didn't know if they could run the gun properly. And it's one of those things that we always buy these guns that these students have never shot. And they take an L, and L is not for love. L's lost because I can't give them full retail back. And when you buy a gun, you can't take it back because you didn't do your homework. So it's important that you do as much as you can. But taking a training class is probably the first thing I'd recommend, and get yourself a good quality instructor that will help you through the process. It'll make all the difference in the world. And the value you get out of that way outweighs the cost, if that makes sense, right? Because buying something that you hate and won't shoot and don't like, to turn around and sell it cheap to buy something else that where you can run, you can shoot, it becomes a little bit different, if that makes sense. So the firearm is not only thing we got to think about. We got to think about the whole plan. Number 2 is know why you're buying the gun. This is so important because too many people, ladies and gentlemen, want to buy their wife a small pistol. They don't understand the concept. They think small pistol, small recoil. It's the opposite. The smaller the gun, the less real estate we have on the firearm, the less weight we have on the firearm, the more recoil and kick we're going to get out of it. So never buy the small pocket pistol first. Buy a firearm that you can take to the range, use for home defense, use for a little bit of carrying until you get comfortable, then worry about the small pistol. It's a big thing that happens to most people is they go out and they buy themselves a small carry gun before they've really spent any time in the range shooting. And you can imagine the smaller the barrel, the less accurate the pistol's going to be. The longer the barrel, the more accurate the pistol's going to be. We need to spend time behind the gun understanding sight picture, sight alignment, trigger control, sight picture, all the things that are going to make you accurate. Then worry about carry. I do these carry classes every week. It's really our hook if you really think about it. I do a basic gun knowledge, Florida concealed carry. We normally charge $50 for it. During the summer, we're doing them for $29, and we're filling our classes. People are getting a good deal on it, but that's not a shooting class. And when they come to the class, we talk a lot about what you need to be. You need to be proficient with a pistol, and you are responsible for your bullet until it hits the ground. So you can imagine if you are not in a high stress situation, you've never practiced pulling that gun out of the holster to engage a bad guy. And majority of people that aren't comfortable shooting to begin with, they don't have the gun loaded. They've got it in their purse, or they got it in their waistband, or they got it in their pocket, but they got to get out of their pocket and rack the slide before they get into the confrontation because they think that that gun's going to go off in my pocket. No firearm should be in your pocket, in your waistband, in your pocketbook, if that trigger is not covered. All weapons need to be in some kind of holster of some kind to protect the trigger guard. So once you know what you're buying and what the purpose is, it is your choice. It's not the YouTube guy. It's not your buddy who shoots his Glock 19. He's a Glock guy. He's never going to accept anything but a Glock. It's not your cousin, your nephew. It's nobody's business what gun you like besides yours. Those two people I told you about, their kids bought them a gun. They felt bad trading that gun in. They felt bad thinking they've wasted their money. Well, I told them, but you got to be comfortable what you're buying. You got to be comfortable to get to the next level. When you have students that come in their high 70s and are accurate with a pistol and confident with a pistol, that's all we need, man. Charles, thank you very much for being here. Thank you. Thank you, Charles. Charles says, what's up, everybody? No, you're not. Never. I was late, buddy. Yeah, I missed about the first 4 minutes. Had computer problems. Florida's getting in the rainy season. We didn't really have a lot of rainy season last year. We had rain, but not like this. It's coming pretty early now. It's coming about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and we're getting a lot of lightning with it. So a lot of times our things shut off and turn back on, and that just pop up right away. So I'm glad you're here, Charles. Thank you very much, buddy. All right. Think about number 3 is fit matters more than flash. A lot of times people go, and I know a few people out there that are buying the staccatos. These are a 1911 fancy 3,500 to $4,500 pistol. And they come in and they shoot it here at the range. And obviously, a $3,500 pistol is super accurate. The pistol may be super accurate, but the student shooting it isn't, because they don't know trigger control. They don't know sight picture. They're pulling the trigger. They got the gun over their nose and not over their dominant eye. An expensive pistol is just an expensive pistol. It's not going to be more accurate. It's not going to be less accurate than anything else. It's the student that makes the gun or the pistol, accurate, if that makes sense. I use the term all the time. I have never, well, I picked a little bit, but I'm not a guitar player. And I want you to think about, if I went out and got a $12,000 Les Paul and I began to strum it here in front of you, it's going to sound just as bad as if I went to the five and dime up the street and picked a $10 guitar out of the five and dime and then play it. It's going to sound just as bad. But if we let someone, I was going to say Eddie Van Halen, but he's gone. But if I gave Eddie Van Halen the two guitars, we as novice listen to Eddie play Eruption with the $20 guitar and the Les Paul, we probably would not hear the difference, but Eddie would. He would know the difference. He even changed his amps. He did a lot of different stuff that made his music his music. So don't spend more than you have to. Don't go cheap on a firearm, but you do not need a $3,500 pistol and think it's going to be more accurate. It's never going to be more accurate than you are. And how do you become accurate with a pistol? Is to understand what's causing your inaccuracy with a pistol. And there's a lot of stuff that can cause it. One of my favorite things to say is shooting's not complicated. It's just complex. There's right grip, left grip, trigger finger, tip of the finger, 60-40 grip. There's guns over your nose, not over your dominant eye. You're pulling trigger, not pulling trigger, over torquing with your right hand, under torquing with your left hand, thumbing the gun, the palming the gun. There's so many different things you can do. That's why consistency is so hard, because you do 6, 7, 8, 9 different things every time you shoot a pistol. And all of those have to be exactly the same each time to start becoming more proficient with a pistol. And you do one thing off just a little bit. That's why when you go to the range, guys, you get 3 that are there and 2 that are missing. And you realize when you start doing this, 1, 2, and 3 may be stacking. 4 goes to left, 5 goes low, because you are losing your control. You're losing your power as you get through the weapon. That's why we always recommend 5 shots at a time. If you can run the pistol and be accurate with 5 shots at a time, you'll be more confident because you're impacting where you are. Challenge is when someone takes a Glock 19 with 15 rounds in it and they load all 15 rounds in the magazine, which of the rounds you think are going to be the most accurate? The first 5. And then after the first 5, that person, that student, that woman, that man are just along for the ride until the weapon is empty. And when the weapon is empty and you're disgusted because you've got all of these impacts on the target, nowhere where you were aiming. And then all of a sudden you're trying to figure out, what the hell did I do? What was that? And then you look at the gun like, what's wrong with this gun? There's something wrong with the gun. It's not the gun, guys. It's not the gun. It's you. All right. Number 4 is caliber isn't everything. A lot of people come here and they want to get a 40 cal. They want to get a 44 Magnum. They want to get a 454 Casull for carry. That makes no sense. These are bear guns. 454 Casull is, in the family of the 500 Smith & Wesson. These are big caliber guns. The problem with big caliber guns is big caliber guns have big recoil, which builds an internal flinch, and internal flinches causes a lot of inaccuracy because you are trying to fight the recoil. You're trying to fight it, but the monster inside of us is trying to fight it as well because it doesn't like the recoil. It doesn't want to be in the range. It doesn't like the reverb off the walls. It doesn't like people shooting next to us. The monster is doing everything it can to cause you to be inaccurate. You need to shoot a caliber that you can be accurate from the first shot to the last shot. Control the recoil, control the weapon, keeping it level. And I would recommend every student start with a 9mm. Even when people come here and they take their wife in the back and let them shoot a 22 first to get them comfortable and then let them shoot a 9. That's the biggest mistake newbies make, trying to get somebody they love to shoot. Because no matter what we put in their hand after the 22, it's got significant recoil. Most students, and I'm talking I've had from 8 years old to 98, can handle a 9mm recoil. And that's man and woman. Only difference is we need to realize you are not controlling this weapon with your hands. You're using the leverage of your body to control the weapon. Next time you're at the range, you want to drive your pecs together, gentlemen, by bringing your hands together and squeeze your pecs, which in turn will squeeze your hands tight and control that weapon. Ladies, if you want to do this, you're going to drive that weapon out with your dominant hand and pull back with your non-dominant hand, which kicks in your back muscles and allows you to control the weapon. No matter if it's a man or a woman, you got to get yourself up over the pistol, get that nose over those toes to suck up some of that movement as the recoil fires into the gun. And the more we absorb the recoil by driving the weapon, the more the weapon will stay level, and the level pistol will make you more accurate. It's not about the caliber, it's about the accuracy. If I can shoot the 9mm in a tennis ball size and control the recoil versus a 45 that takes me to past an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, I may be missing at that point in time because I'm sucking. Truly, 45 really isn't a bad recoil. 40 has more recoil management than the 45 because 45 is a big bullet, but it's traveling under the speed of sound, under 1,000 feet per second, where the 40 itself can be anywhere from 14 to 1,600 feet per second. It was designed to be a flat, hot round to use for the FBI and the Sheriff's Department for having what they consider stopping power, which technically, getting one hopped up on anything, stopping power is a myth, basically. But there's been people who've been shot and fall immediately because that's what they see on TV. But someone hopped on something, they could take 4 or 5 and keep coming. So it's better to have more rounds than less rounds. Every caliber you go up, you drop round count. That's why most of your cops, most of the FBI, most of the Sheriff's Department throughout the United States now, there are a few that are still staying with the 40, but majority of our area in here, all are 9mm and all are Glocks. Glock 17, optic ray. Some are doing the 320s, some in the United States, but most people are still sticking with the Glocks because they're universal and you can throw a mag to anybody. So caliber isn't everything. Just remember that. Get comfortable. Feel the best caliber for you. If you like 40, stick to 40. If you like 9, stick to 9. Well, think about 9 millimeter. It's cheap. It's not as cheap as it used to be. It would be $9 a box at one time, but we're averaging about 14 to 16 to $17 a box according to which manufacturer. We do a lot of Pistol Pete, which is a reman product, remanufactured. He has the same equipment as some of the big distributors. They're all electronic, they're all computer. The only thing that touches that bullet is at the end when it gets boxed up. No human touches it during the loading process. So we have to use the term remanufacture, but I've been using it for years, and it is quality stuff. And they ship all over the United States. So if you're looking for something, you can always check Pistol Pete Ammo, and Pistol Pete himself will give you a good deal. They sometimes do the $10 shipping, other stuff they have. Check their website out, Pistol Pete Ammo. All right, that's what we use. We use 124 here from Pistol Pete. 124 is a good round. It's got very little muzzle flip. You're not going to get a very high flash out of it during the. Thank you, RP. Thank you, RP. Appreciate that, friend. He said great advice. Thank you. Recoil is real. You know, a lot of people that have shot a long time kind of try to muscle the grip with their hands, and they're doing a lot of manipulation. But when you're telling your significant other just to hold on to it and engage the trigger, it is not the easiest thing for some students to do. A gun that's too snappy or too heavy might be better. 9 millimeter will be a better round for them, and you'll be able to control it a little bit better. But weapons that are snappy or heavy can crush your confidence. It can frustrate you. It does me. I've been really working really hard at trying to be as accurate as I can. Owning a YouTube channel and doing a large percentage of my videos in front of the camera while shooting, it just adds a bit of stress to me. And I don't know why. When I first started this whole YouTube thing, one of the things I promised myself, I promised Johnny, and I promised you that I'm going to show you the video, whether I shoot really well or I suck that day. We all have good days. We all have bad days. And nobody is a perfect shooter. We're doing something. Something's being manipulated at all times. So understanding recoil management is one of the things that we have to get our head around, and there's a lot of different things you can do by watching videos like on our YouTube channel or our playlist. And the recoil does not go away, and it doesn't get easier, but once you start understanding it, it makes a big difference on how to control it. Now, I said before, when you stick to 5 rounds at a time, you can control through 5 rounds. It's very challenging for anybody to control past 10 rounds because we don't have the strength and the power to control through. So, sucking up recoil or fighting recoil does not impress anybody if your accuracy weighs because of it. You don't have to be a macho man and shoot a 500 Smith & Wesson and carry a 500 Smith & Wesson, because realistically, our job, whatever pistol we carry, whatever weapon you decide, 90% of the time in a critical defense situation, do you really think you're going to have proper grip? Do you think you're going to have proper stance? Do you really think you're going to have both hands on the gun at one time? in a situation like that. You go back and you look at some of these police tales and the videos, most of the time they're shooting one-handed. They're not shooting two-handed. It'd be great and wonderful if you could ask the bad guy to come back in 10 minutes for I could be ready for the situation. But you may have to do a lot of different stuff, and recoil on a 9mm is going to be a lot less aggravation for you and more accuracy with 9 than any other caliber. So don't ever forget, recoil is real, and it does affect you in many ways. All right, okay, get fingers working. Let's get to the next one. What's happening? Okay, there we go. Yes, I put it on a script because I want to remember it, and it helps me tremendously. All right, number 6 is understanding the laws, understanding the concealed carry laws. Most of us, one time or another, are going to be carrying a gun out of the state that we live in. Now, if you're from Florida, I won't say every state, but if you live in Florida or you get your Florida concealed, and one of the beautiful things about Florida is they allow non-residents and residents to get the Florida concealed. You do not have to live in Florida. You don't need a home in Florida. You don't need to even come to Florida to get your Florida concealed. All that stuff can be done online, which we offer that if you're interested. Very economical. You watch our video. We give you the target. You shoot your target. You turn your paperwork in, and then you go to the Department of Agriculture and finish the thing up. And now you are going to get 30 states as a non-resident that you'll be able to carry concealed in. Now, as a Florida resident, you're going to get 36. But those 36 states have laws that are similar to Florida, but not exactly the same. So your responsibility, if you plan to carry, is to understand that every state has different laws, and you need to know your local laws and the state's laws before you buy, carry, or use a firearm. Don't buy your handgun and end up getting in trouble. And this is one of those things because Florida now has this silly thing called permitless carry. It's not truly permitless carry. It's called permitless carry, not what they consider constitutional carry. Permitless carry means there are certain places you can go with a firearm and you do not have to worry about due to tell and everything. That's one thing Florida does not have, is we have no duty to tell the cop we have a gun on us. It's an assumption we have a gun on us, but many states, including Georgia, has a duty to tell. If you have a firearm on you and you get stopped by a cop for speeding and he asks you before you tell him, you broke the law. And you're probably going to piss him off. So you understand the laws and the regulations to your best of your ability is your responsibility. And a lot of those laws you get from where? The internet. And the internet can be wrong. So I recommend you get the USCCA and travel insurance, the concealed carry insurance. It's a great product. It's available. And not only do you get up to $1 million of downstroke and bond, you get attorney representation, you get almost $2 million with limited liability for civil lawsuits, $10,000 incidental expenses, $700 a day lost earnings. It'll cover all 50 states. You can't be in all 50 states in the firearm. You can only be in the state you're allowed to be in with your reciprocity. It covers all self-defense lawful acts. On top of that, you get a mobile reciprocity app. Thank you, Raymond. Good to hear that, buddy. Raymond is a USCCA member. Congratulations. But the USCCA has an app, and that app allows you to know the laws as you travel. And there's a full team that updates that on a daily basis. It's very hard to go on the internet and find out the laws and how they change. Well, how would you like to have that on your wallet? So when you get in a critical defense situation, you have everybody right there in one place. You got your app on your phone. You got your phone to call 911. You got your phone to call USCCA when you get to a certain situation. You know, they even tell you what to say, guys. If you're in a situation where you use your gun line defense, one of the first things they tell you is get to a safe place. Then call 911. Make sure you're safe. And then once you call 911, you just tell the cops, "Hey, I was in a critical defense situation. I am at such and such location. Please send me help." And when the cops get there, instead of you saying, "Well, I did this or I did that," you say nothing. And you say, "Listen, I was the victim and I am the one that called you. My firearm's right over there on the desk. It is not loaded and it's sitting right there because they're going to confiscate it. They're going to take it." And then tell them that I'll be happy to cooperate with you when I'm in presence of my attorney. And it stops all questioning at that point in time. Because remember, guys, you most likely had just shot this gun, let's just say in a hotel room where it's in a confined space. What do you think your ears are going to do? You didn't get your earmuffs on. And we've all shot a gun with no earmuffs on. You know how loud that is. Now put yourself in a box and do it. Now, you can imagine if you shot the bad guy, you're in a low environment area, a low light condition area. Can you imagine what the flash that's going to do in the middle of the night? You've all had a flashlight turned on your eyes and shut off real quick. You know what that does, dilate your eyes. It makes it hard to see. And don't forget, you had a high adrenaline dump and your heart rate's going about 170 to 190 beats a minute. Is that the type of time you want to be talking to the cops about what happened in this situation? Or would you rather be calmed down a little bit and be represented by your attorney, which if you don't have an attorney, the USCCA will supply one for you in this critical defense situation. So you need to make sure that you are fully protected. You are protected with a gun. You are protected with your livelihood and freedom by getting the USCCA. And it's important that you pay attention to that, because burying your head in the sand and thinking, well, it's never going to happen to me, can get you into some legal trouble, because you can't say I didn't know that law. That's the one thing about Florida. Florida will allow you to get your permit. I will allow you to take one of our classes, but Florida and myself are not giving you permission to use your permit. You were stepping into it. You were making that decision to engage the bad guy, and you need to follow through with the consequences of doing it. All right. You need to train. And I mean, train a lot. You need to spend time behind the guns. It's very challenging for you to know everything. It's very challenging for me to know everything. It's very minute things that make you the better shooter, the worse shooter. I've been doing this since 2013. I opened my shop up here in 2019. We've done a lot of classes here. We've done a lot of students, trained a lot of people. We specialize in the first-time shooter who has not got the experience and needs some support and help. And that's what we do. We motivate, educate, entertain. But one of the big values that we do is we have multiple different classes that we offer. Now, when getting the YouTube channel off the ground, I was getting a lot of you guys asking, man, I wished you lived closer to me. I would take a class from you in a heartbeat. Because what you see on the YouTube videos is me. I don't do any fake stuff. I'm not a different person in front of the camera. I'm the same guy. That's me. I'm here, right here. I don't fake it. I don't do anything like that. But you guys kept asking, so I put the ebooks together. I thought this would be a great way for me to give you something to support you and make you understand what I'm trying to teach you. And I broke down why someone shoots low and left, and I put it in the ebook form. And I put the 10 secrets of a firearms instructor and the 10 secrets to make you more accurate with a pistol. And I put that in the ebook. And then I did one about grip, and I did one about stance, and I did one about trigger control and sight picture and sight alignment. I put them all together for you. And you guys loved it. But I kept people say, man, I wish I lived closer. And then all of a sudden, I started getting these people coming from the YouTube channel on vacation to Florida and booking classes with me. I was humbled, really. That was one of, I'm just a plain old redneck from North Fort Myers, and I've got almost 40,000 subscribers, and I just love it very much. It's a passion of mine. So uniquely, I started thinking, what if I put together a program that could support people throughout the United States and make you a better shooter? So I researched around and found a product that I built called the Masterclass. And the Masterclass is a training program that you can take that will allow you, no matter where you are, to work with me. And what it is, it's an online course. It's every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we cover this week's topic, which when the masterclass, it's foundation first, understanding the grip, understanding the stance, understanding somewhat of the trigger, understanding sight picture and sight alignment, understanding the basics, right? To get you a good foundation. And during that first week, we are going to see where you are on a target. We're going to give you a target which you download and you shoot. And then you and I will work together to make suggestions and make you understand what you're doing. That's the beauty of the masterclass. It educates you so much that you become the aha moment. That's the aha moment we always have in masterclass. Someone says, he should have said that to begin with. I said, I've been saying it, you just haven't been hearing it. And then all of a sudden, you start hitting where you need to be. And that masterclass is a course laid program. You pay for the course, you get work with me for 5 weeks. Week number 1 is foundation. Week number 2 is trigger control. Week number 3 is speed and accuracy. Week number 4 is shooting one-handed, shooting non-dominant hand, and some real world techniques. And week number 5 is to finish up week 4 and enter you into another program we have if you're interested. And the master class is going at different prices each time. And this is the lowest it's been for the summer. We're going to give you 5 weeks working with me. We're going to give you 5 conference calls on Monday nights. We're going to give you a PowerPoint presentation every week. We're going to give you a PDF homework drill. We're going to give you feedback and updates to help you understand what you're doing wrong. This is a $149 product that we're letting it go for the summer for $89.99. Now, the class starts July 7th at 7 p.m. If you're looking for the best way for you to solve some of your inaccuracy problems, this program is for you. Now, I'm so positive that it will change you shooting forever. You will never have these inaccuracy issues. You will never have repeating doing the same thing and expecting a different results, because I'm going to lay out and help you solve your inaccuracy issues. and I'm so positive that you will solve your issues, I'm going to give you a money back guarantee. The class is $89.99 for 5 weeks working with me, which is a steal, guys, because at the end of it, most of my classes go out of here. I'm 149 for a single class, 260s for a couple, and that's for 1 hour, guys. That's for 1 hour I charge that. But I'm giving you the ability because it's such a passion of mine, and I know it's going to support you, and you will tell other people about this, and you will be able to become a better shooter and finally outshoot your stinking brother-in-law. The guy doesn't train, he doesn't shoot, but every time you go to the range, he ends up beating you. Once in a while, wouldn't it be nice to beat him? And with this, you will. I promise you that. Now, if you're interested in doing it, in the link in the description down below, there is the masterclass sign up. What do you need to do? Sign up for the class. You need to make sure you're available Monday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's for 5 weeks. It's all the month of July. And then from there, you need to get to the range at least once a week. And we're going to shoot 50 rounds because most of our drills are 5 rounds at a time. And then you're going to take a picture of your target and you're going to attach it to the course. And when you attach it to the course, I will look at it and we'll either email each other. I'll either call you or you can call me, and we will discuss how the week went and what you need to do to become a better shooter. Shooting at the range can be fun. Shooting at the range can be fatiguing. Shooting at the range can be frustrating because you just don't know that little tip or trick that's going to solve your accuracy problems forever. That's why I put the masterclass together. I started this in February with a beta group that was coast to coast. That was from Washington State to Boston, Massachusetts, and everywhere in between. We had 9 students that did it then. The next one was like 8 students, coast to coast. We have people who watch this video and live close to us. If you are on here and you live close to us and you want to be part of the masterclass, you sign up. But when you come to your homework, you come to this range, and we will let you shoot for free because you are part of the masterclass program. You come in and do your homework with us. While you're here and I'm here, we'll work together to make sure you're getting that good trigger press and everything else like that. Guys, the only reason why I put these programs together to educate, motivate, and entertain, and this masterclass will do it for you. And if you want to sign up and just to make it just a little bit better for you, I'm going to give you a $5 coupon. Put save 5 now. Save 5 now, and you get an extra $5 off. And then that's going to make that whole class, the 5 weeks working with me, all the things you get, the ebook, the training class, the homework, the PowerPoint presentations, everything for $84.99. How could you say no? How could you say no to becoming a better shooter? It's guaranteed. It's been working. And I put my money where the mouth is, and I'm willing to give it back to you if you don't approve. So if you're looking to sign up, guys, down in below in the description, that's where it is. All right, got off a tangent there. I apologize about that. You train. You need to enrich yourself in all the drills to make you a better shooter. Never forget that safety comes first. Safety is paramount. I don't care if you're the best shooter in the whole damn world. If you suck at safety, you suck. And that's just what it is. So don't forget, there are 4 safety rules that you need to make sure you understand. You guys know them, but I'm going to say them anyways. Number one is assume the weapon is always loaded, or treat the weapon if it's always loaded. We use this an awful lot for students. It's more of a tricky trick thing we do is we load the weapon to teach them how to unload a semi-automatic pistol, and they rack it, put the magazine and rack the slide, and they see the round go into the gun, and I ask them, does this make the gun hot? And all of them say yes. Well, yes, they're right. They're right. But I would say no. That's not why it's hot. Why is it hot? Well, there's a bolt in chamber. Nope, that's not why. I racked the slide. No, that's not why. And I turn them around. We got it written on the wall in the back. And I say, what's that say right there? What's number one say? And it says, treat the weapon if it's always loaded. And I say, okay, why is that gun hot? And it's all about the weapon is hot due to the fact that it is a firearm. Keep in mind, guys, shotguns, rifles, pistols, frying pans, they're always loaded. They're always loaded. And if they're always loaded, where's your finger not going to be? On the trigger. What are you not going to point it at? Anything you love and don't want to destroy. And always keep the weapon pointed downrange. All right. Safety comes first, guys. Number 9 is budget for more than just the gun. You know, most people will try to buy the gun first and then worry about everything else. That's okay. But you got to think about the holster. You got to think about the ammo. You got to think about maybe a loader. You got to think about the range bag, the earmuffs, the eyewear, the ammo itself. You know, all the little stuff you need to think about. So it's just not the firearm. You don't need to buy all this stuff at first, but you should buy it. You need to have it because in some places you go, like at the range here, we supply earmuffs and eyewear. You can't even go back in the range without having that stuff on. But, you know, it is something you need to budget for. You need to budget for a good holster. And when that right there alone can be 4 or 5 different holsters just to find the right one that's going to fit you. My suggestion on holsters is do some research, get out to one of the gun shows where they got these Kydex holsters, the leather holsters, and then take your weapon out there, let them stick it in there, make it form fit. I'm not a Kydex guy. I think they're more stiff and rigid, but I think leather's a lot better choice for most people. But, you know, that's up to you how you feel about it. You know, when you're talking about budgets, you need to talk about your training budget too. You need to train and talk about cleaning kits and all the other things that come along with it. Memberships to the gun range, how much it costs an hour to shoot, get the program set up the way you need to. We're fortunate. We're mostly member only kind of deal, but we do allow some street walk in. But, you know, we're not a gun range. We're a training facility that has some open times for our members, which we do allow retail students to come in and shoot with us. Once we're comfortable with them, then we offer memberships and things like that. But I would consider us we're a hybrid. We are a gun store, but we're really not. I don't stock thousands of guns. I just stock the popular ones for the training purposes. We're not a gun range because we're 35 feet to the back. So coming here to shoot an AK or, you know, a 270, that's just not our deal. We mostly do handgun caliber rifles and handgun caliber pistols, and we work with students to become more proficient. And then we just take them to the next level by letting them buy other stuff or shoot more and more. And then we put classes together, like enhanced classes and things for them. So we're a full service business here. And number 10 is mindset. Mindset over gear. The most important thing is to bring to a gunfight isn't the gun itself, it's the mindset. It's the mental preparation. It's the awareness. It's the decision-making matter more than any brand of pistol, right? It's the decisions. It's being the gun is one thing, but it's not really the most important. It's the mindset. It's the mental preparation. It's the awareness. All right. Buying a pistol without really thinking about it is like the ostrich head in the sand, hoping nothing happens, you know. But a hope isn't a defensive strategy. Preparations is, training is, mindset is. So if you're serious about protecting yourself and your loved ones, it starts with an education, not just equipment. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your loved ones. You owe it to your wife and your family to be the best you can be. If you're bringing a firearm in your home, I'm a firm believer is you do not put it away and tell the kids don't touch it. You need to educate them for the purpose. Obviously, you got a 4-year-old, you need to put it away, let it know where it is, blah blah blah. Don't get that's not what I'm saying. But if you got a 12-year-old, 14-year-old, and whatever you feel you're comfortable with, no firearm should be in the house if everybody in the home doesn't know how to load it and unload it. This is a weapon. This is not a toy. This can save lives and it can take lives. So you need to be super aware of the weapon and how to use it. And everyone in the home should be. One great thing about women, Mama Bear's in there. Someone try to touch one of their babies, they don't need a firearm to save the baby's life. They're going to use anything they can, including their fists, their teeth, their arms, their bite. We just need to get into an education drill to work on it, because when you go to reach on that pistol and it's that time, it's all got to be muscle memory. It's all got to go with the flow, right? So don't be an ostrich. Be the one who trains and is confident and is ready. If you want to grab one of those ebooks, guys, they're in the description below. Pick one of them up, put them in the cart, put free book at checkout, just free book, and you'll get it for free. Now, those books are all normally $3.99, and we sell them. They're on sale for $2.99. If you want to pick up a few more, it would not hurt my feelings, and you'd be supporting a family-owned business. If you'd like to know more about the masterclass or sign up for the masterclass, it's in the link in the descriptions below of this live as well. And the code there, $5 off. It's $5 off. It's in a link below, and it'll be there for you. And you'd be able to get that $5 off, which we get it all for $84.99. And it's guaranteed. If you're not happy or you don't like the class for some reason or another, we will give you your money back guarantee if it doesn't improve your accuracy in the first 4 weeks. Everybody else has done that, and we have not had anybody take us back on that as well. And you will become a better shooter. So that is the presentation for this evening, and I hope you are not walking around putting your head in the sand. I think you need to find a way to make a plan together. There are plenty of videos on our YouTube that will get you some videos. And then this is something that you really need to talk with your whole family about. I've been doing it for years. When the family, we go to Disney and we do anything else like that, we go to a football game, we're always talking about where we're going to meet up. If something were to happen, where are we going to meet? And we make that decision before we even walk into the place. And this, we had a scary situation one time. Thank you, Raymond. We went to SeaWorld with the boys, and Jacob was he's 25 now, but he was probably 8 or 9. And Johnny was 9, Jacob was 8. And we came out of one of these things at SeaWorld, and Jake ran one way and Johnny went the other way. And with all those people, we had no idea where we went. We were panicking. And then I went to the nearest store, and there is Jacob with a lady. And the lady said, he came in and said, my daddy said, if I ever got lost, to go find an adult. And so I went in there, I hugged him, and then I spanked him because he walked off and he ran the wrong way. And he was nervous. He was nervous and doing all that, but he went right to where he was supposed to go, and it wasn't even 3 minutes away from the kid. But you always think about the worst. So make those plans, get those kids involved, with everything that you have. Don't hide it from them. That's the worst thing we can do. So let's go up and see if there's any comments that we can check real quick before we shut down for this evening. We had a pretty good group here this evening. We appreciate you all being here. Let's go up. All right. Okay. So, Raymond, thank you very much for being here. John, appreciate you, buddy. Kurt, thank you, sir. Loud and clear. I hear you loud and clear. Yes, we hear you. Yeah, thank you, John. John said congratulations on the 700 videos. So did RP. Thank you, Raymond. Thank you again for clapping for that. I appreciate you very much. Leona Ryder from Ohio, thank you for being here for the first time. I hope you decide to come back and listen to it. Tristan is unfortunately from Lee, Illinois. Congratulations, Kurt, on getting the books from your wife. That was very cool of her. Yeah, in Florida, you don't have a gun permit there, Tristan. We use our driver's license. You can have your concealed, and there is no wait without your concealed. There's what's called a 3-day business wait. And after that, we don't have any FOIT cards or anything else like that. You can actually go into a gun store without anything and touch a firearm. We don't have any cops issuing us anything. We don't have gun permits here. This is the gunshine state, sir. So we are allowed to own, operate. And it's an assumption when you're stopped by a cop that there's a gun on you somewhere along the line because of Florida's laws. Because our laws, we have castle doctrine. Castle doctrine allows us to protect ourselves with a firearm in our vehicle or any other docile that we live in, sleep in, wigwam, TP, boat, RV, any of that stuff like that. Kurt Richards, I found many new shooters lose interest in their firearm is because they are very few quality training programs. That is true. That is true. And that's kind of why we put the masterclass together for you, Kurt. You can only shoot so many rounds and realize that I'm not getting any better, right? We talked about that guitar thing. Why do you think that majority of people have a guitar in a closet and not stuck out there in the hallway to be played on a regular basis? Because if you ever try to learn to play guitar, you first have to build your calluses on your fingers. And that takes years or months and months and months. And it takes dedication, in which most people don't look at the firearm as important as it should be, if that makes sense. When you go to the range and you become the shooter and you start looking at your program the right way, you have to have the dedication. And this is honestly the secret of all secrets, guys, is when you do a 4-week or 5-week masterclass program with us, you are dedicated in doing your work and doing your homework for the 5 weeks. And then when you get into doing it each week and you start seeing your successes, and we start realizing what's causing those successes, at that point in time, you're going to get that big light bulb above your head that says, aha, the fat guy's right. The fat guy's giving me some information that's valuable. It's like gold. And then you're able to take yourself, get yourself to a position, and then all I ask you to do is to take the next person you know in there and teach them it. Because once you start, we lose a lot of our people. We lose shooters on a regular basis, where they're not doing it as much as they used to, and we're not getting the whole family involved, which is imperative. So if you are getting to a point where you feel comfortable, get the wife into a class, take her in to let her shoot. These sleeper cells that we keep talking about on the internet, this border was open for 4 years, and we don't know who's here and who isn't here. And our job, not the cop's job, our job is to defend ourselves and our loved ones from any danger that's there. And understand the firearm is the equalizer, and we got to make sure that we have full knowledge how to use it, what to do with it, and shoot it on a regular basis. Many of us roller skated as young children. Roller skates are in the garage, or they're in the closet, or wherever they are. Could you imagine putting the roller skates on at 58 years old and probably 200 pounds heavier than you? No, probably 150 pounds heavier than I was when I roller skated, and go outside and try to roller skate around? That's asking for a disaster, right? That's asking for a broke collarbone or broke ass or whatever it's going to be. It's going to be great if you had a camera out there and take pictures of the fat ass falling, but at the end of it, we need to do it on a regular basis. Listen, I know there's people roller skating every Friday night that's been doing it since they've been 15 years old, and they go to the same place every night because it is, it's an activity. It's a sport that they do. But shooting is a sport, but it's a necessity too. Think about it. It's a hobby, but it's a forced hobby. Because we know when I go to grab that pistol in a defensive situation, I don't have to think about it. It's all going to be muscle memory at that point in time. And that's what we need to work on more than anything else, is the muscle memory fact. But you got to understand what you're doing wrong to fix it. And that's where working with me will help you do that. Okay. Charles, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Late or not, buddy, I appreciate you being here. All right. So John's asking, is there any way that you have found or know of the best replicate or stimulate high stress during the firearms training? There's a couple things we do, John. We actually put up behind my shoulder. You see the targets back there. Well, those are on a track system, and we can set that track system in a forward motion, and we call out when you can shoot. That's something that you and Jake can try for you. A lot of the military guys will have the guys do running before they shoot, or they'll do jumping jacks before they shoot, but that's not really stimulating or simulating high stress. a drill and dump is one of those things. It's very hard to get somebody to get to that point. And I'm going to give you what I'm talking about. And this is kind of will bring you down to how do we make this happen. You're driving down the road, you're in your neighborhood, you're just got off 16 hours of work because you got in there early and you had to work all day and you pick up a double shift and you're driving down and your neighbor 3 houses from you gets in his car and pulls out of his driveway without even looking while you're coming down the road. You slam on the brakes, you run up into the neighbor's yard, and you miss him. But could you imagine what your heart rate's going to be? Boom, 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 boom. That's a drill and dump. That's going to be a little challenging. You're not going to calm down from that very often. It's probably going to make you mad a little bit, right? Now let's do that whole thing again. Instead of your neighbor rolling out of the driveway, let's talk about the neighbor's 8-year-old son rolling out of the driveway and his tricycle in front of you. Now, what kind of high stress would that be? You'd flip your Jeep before hitting that kid. You'd crush it into a house before hurting that kid. That's just the way it is. But there's no way to put somebody in that stress, John. So I would recommend next time you're here, because John's one of our members here at the range, that he's always loyal about watching the show here. We appreciate that, Johnny boy. Have Jake do that draw method where the target's coming to you. You can do command drills, guys. These are great drills. You can put 4 or 5 different targets up and have your command person call out the letter or the number and then have the student shoot it. And you're not allowed to shoot it until someone tells you what it is. And the job of the commander is to get the shooter to fail. And the shooter's job is not to fail, if that makes sense. And let them anticipate as they roll through the targets. Command drills are pretty easy to do. You want to get some sacrificial targets like playing cards. You can physically staple up 52 playing cards on a target and let the shooter call out the target. You know, he could say ace and then lay out, spades, clubs, and then don't give it away right off the bat. You could do dummy round drills where you load the person's magazine. That's a good way to do it because that puts a simulation of you shooting the pistol and it not going bang. I don't know about you guys, but as a shooter who I always have crazy dreams about me pulling the trigger and the bullet just goes out of the gun like there's no real power behind it. It just slides out. And I don't know why that is. It's one of those things. Maybe it's a fear of mine that when it comes down to it, it's not going to perform or whatever it is. But those are the kind of things you can put yourself into. You watch these Navy SEAL guys, that week of hell, they deprive them of sleep. They deprive them of food. They work on their mental and their physical and then have them shoot and do all the other stuff. It really puts them in a weird way that they probably would never be in. But that's why the best pass that, because they are brought into deep, almost nothing left. And that puts them in that position. Great question, John. I hope I answered it for you, buddy. Raymond, thank you very much for saying that. I appreciate you. Raymond was telling it very informative. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, Kurt Richards, training from retention, shooting, reactive shooting. Yeah, those are all very important things you got to do. Get the foundation first. That's the one thing I can tell you, because the moment it's proven time and time again, most people are fibbers. If I asked you today, what part of accuracy are you at 21 foot? Most people will tell me, oh, I'm 50%, I'm 60%. If you are 50% and higher at 7 yards, then you're a damn good shooter. Now, the problem we have to be is we have to be somewhere between 65 and 70 at those distances, because when we start moving, the moment you begin to move with a firearm in the defensive class, we are going to lose 20% because we're not stationary. No one actually can stay stationary in a defensive situation anyways. But you truly aren't when you start moving with the firearm. So this is something we need to work on. So all the other extra classes and techniques, I won't call them a waste, but I will call them premature if you're not accurate over 50% with a firearm at any distance. And what does this mean? This means if I gave you an 8-inch paper plate and I stood in the back and pushed it out at any distance, you'd be able to impact the center of the paper plate, not the bottom of the paper plate, not low and left of the paper plate. I want you to be in the middle of the paper plate. And if you can do that out of 50 rounds, that means 25 of them went directly where you're aiming and the rest are really close, then we're good. But if you're low and left in a low left quadrant, then we need to work on some kind of manipulation you're doing with a pistol. It could be the gun's over your nose. It could be it's not over your dominant eye. It could be your fingers too much to the gun. Could be that you are not gripping hard enough with your non-dominant hand and you are gripping too hard with your dominant hand. There's a lot of little things you can do, but the moment we begin doing these tactical classes or the enhanced classes, we need to be as accurate we can be, because the moment we begin to move, 20% loss of accuracy when we move, because we cannot keep our front post as stable as we'd like to, especially when walking or moving with a firearm. That's good. Good there, Kurt. Keep up the good work, buddy. Ramel Williams, are you new, sir? Have you been on the channel before? Ramel, Rummel, Rummel, Romell, Rummel Williams. Mr. Williams, welcome. Thank you very much for being here. Oh, cool. You've been here before. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. My brother lives in Erie, Illinois, if you know where that is, Erie, Illinois. And he's retired now, but he worked at Merriam State Prison. He was a turret guard. He did all the stuff up there. Pretty cool. I've only been there one time when I was about 9 years old. Oh, you're in Chicago. Oh, my wife's a Bears fan. Does that make you a Bears fan? I actually got to go to Chicago 2 Christmases ago. My wife's biggest bucket list thing was to go see the Chicago Bears in Soldier Field. So we stayed in the hotel right across from Grant Park. I had got tickets for her to go see her father. He had got COVID, and he was a cancer patient at the time, and they didn't think he was going to make it through it. In the midst of her going there, before she got on the plane, she got COVID. So Spirit Airline gave us the opportunity to put those tickets on hold. Well, after 3.5 years of all the bullcrap we went through with COVID, the Spirit said, you got to use these. They're going to expire. We're not going to keep extending them. And when I did that ticket thing, I ended up, my 2 sons, and my sister-in-law were all going to go up there to see the real dad. The stepdad here is the dad, really, but that's the real dad. Well, and we never went out. We got to use it. We made this bucket list. We went to Chicago Bears in a Christmas game, like December the 27th or something like it, against the Vikings, and we got Monday night ticket games, and it was I've never been to Chicago doing what I do for a living. I was always worried about safety and security. What a beautiful town. I owed Chicago an apology. I thought it was going to be a piece of crap city. I thought all the bad stuff that everyone tells me about. I found out later on that because it was cold outside, most of the bumps and stuff were down below or whatever they were. But we went to, well, it's not called Sears Tower, but we went to the place called, that was Sears Tower. I went to Trump Tower. I went to Navy Pier. We went to see the Bean. We went to the aquarium. Listen, my wife is she's taller than I am. She's 5'9", I think, and I'm 5'6". And she dragged my ass around that city. We walked 29,000. I walked 29,000 steps on that Saturday, and the game isn't on Monday. And I had to wear a COVID mask during all that, and I didn't have a warm coat. My buddy Jeff Berry is tall, and he gave me a leather bomber, and Jeff he let me borrow that jacket, and my hands were hanging inside the jacket because I didn't have it. I have one camo jacket. I'm a Florida boy. We don't have jackets. It doesn't get cold enough to wear. I wear shorts 365. I don't have a jacket. But he let me borrow a jacket and that leather bomber. I thought I was going to die. That thing was so damn heavy and hot. I was sweating my things off in these little towns. But I got my Chicago pizza, and I got my Harry Carey. Went to the bar at Harry Carey's and all that stuff. What a great the Sears Tower was awesome. That was fun. That was a big, tall building. And then she walked me all around Soldier Field the day before, taking pictures, the Walter Payton trophies, and all the stuff like that. And then we went to the game, and of course, Chicago lost. But we walked back from the game to the hotel room. We were that close. It was way fun. But that's to be said. I appreciate you guys being here this evening. I appreciate everything about you. Thank you guys, all of you, for being here each week. It means an awful lot to me to be able to be supported by you, and you stick through all my tangents when I go off somewhere along the line. I'm just a regular person just like you, but I enjoy educating, motivating, and entertaining, and I hope I do. Until next time, guys, God bless, be safe, and remember, you are your first line of defense. God willing, I'll see you next Tuesday night, right here, live from the range. I love you guys. Good night.